Good evening, everyone, and we'll call this regular council meeting of October 22nd to order. First of all, under presentations, we have none this evening. Could I have a motion, please, to adopt the agenda as presented? Thank you. Councillor Yanish, seconded by Councillor Vroba. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Could I, under minutes, could I have a motion, please, to adopt the minutes of the council meeting held on October 1st, 2018? Councillor Nibbs, seconded by Councillor Moore. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Under original communications, delegations, and petitions, we have from the Southeast Transportation Committee the minutes of September 25th, 2018. Could I have a motion, please, for those? Thank you, Councillor Hoffert. Seconded by Councillor Yanish. Questions or comments? Councillor Moore, anything you wanted to add?
Thank you, Worship. Nothing to add other than we're really pleased to have the Minister of Highways in our zone area, Minister Carr, and it's been announced that we're going to do the passing lanes starting next year from Estevan to Weyburn. So they got, Regina got theirs done a couple this year, so that's a good move to get started from our end working towards Regina. So I think having somebody in the area, we got a good close contact, and don't be afraid to make a phone call either to myself or to Laurie if you've got something, because we are the messengers, and we'd be happy to take it to the sources that can help us out.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much, Councillor Moore. And I understand even Torquay Way, they're doing some improvements, are they?
Yes, they are. And I was in Warman last week, and I should happen to mention that we're doing a rebuild from Torquay to the U.S. border. And the assistant to the minister, after a few minutes, said, Dennis, I don't think we're doing that. And I said, well, it's announced that you are. And pretty soon he stood up and he said, you're right, we are doing that to the degree of gravel. We're not paving it right now, but so I don't know what book he was reading, but anyway,
okay,
it was a good thing to hear, and I'm sure the people of that surrounding area are going to be pleased with what's being done there, and it's high time that they got some decent road in that particular area.
Yeah, absolutely,
so,
out that way.
So we're happy for them, and the other thing is up around Athabasca, they're doing some work up there for our friends, and they're going to take a flight up there on December the 13th, and they want to take the chair people for the areas along with some government people and show us just what they're dealing with and how we would approach it if we were living in that area as to where we would put the money, because there's a lot of different areas, but not that many people living in a given area. So you have to get your supplies in, and they just shared a little bit of the cost that the rest of us, we don't have an idea what down here, what it costs to live in that far north. So it'll be a good educational wake-up for us to take them up on the call, and they've offered to take us up and fly us with Athabasca Air, I believe is the company's name, and so if I'm well and able, I certainly would take that on just to see what's going on in the rest of the province. So,
okay, well, thank you so much for the update, Councillor Moore, and don't forget Highway 47 South. That's still in need of repair. That's probably next on the list, hopefully.
Well, we beat them up every month, and I'm going to Carlisle tomorrow, and we'll beat them up again.
Okay, appreciate it.
Well, no, we can't talk that way because we're advisors.
Exactly, and of course you don't literally mean that. Just bringing it up. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Moore. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under original communications, delegations, and petitions, we have St. Joseph's Hospital Community Events
call
Permit.
it conflict of interest.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Hoffert. Okay. And Councillor Frank. Let it be noted that they're both leaving council chambers, declaring a conflict of interest. So we have from St. Joseph's Hospital Foundation, as we do every year, they're very excited to announce the 2018 Festival of Trees. This year's theme is Christmas on the Prairies. The Festival of Trees hosts 4 major events over 3 days, including seniors tea, breakfast with Santa and the Bruins, our newest event, Candy Cane Lane, a dessert tasting extravaganza, and of course our gala dinner featuring Estevan's own Spencer LaFrance with his band Spenny and the Jets. And I understand they're a great band. The fun and activities will be from November 30th to December 2nd at Affinity. We would like to request the City of Estevan's approval for a special events permit so that we may obtain our liquor license for the Candy Cane Lane event on Friday, November 30th from 7:30 to 11 p.m. and for the gala dinner on Saturday, December 1st from 5:30 to midnight. Thank you for your consideration and your support. That's from Travis Frank, the Executive Director of the Foundation. So what's the wish of Council? Councillor Nibbs.
Your worship, acceptance and approval.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Vroba, second it. Any further questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Trudy, would you mind letting them back in, please? Thank you. Next, under written reports of committees, we have none this evening. Under executive reports, we have the Treasurer's Report, Alice Cooper Concert Financials. Trudy, would you like to go over those, or what's your wish?
Yes, so I'll just quickly go over it. The total revenue was $170,000, and the total expenses were like $188,000. So there was a loss recognized of right around $17,000. So if anyone has any further questions or comments, I'd be willing to provide more information. But there really was a positive response to the show, and they said they enjoyed the venue and there was great sound. So we just needed to sell roughly 200 more tickets to break even.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Trudy. We'll open the floor for questions. Councillor Hoffer.
Yeah, Your Worship, thank you for that, and thank you for the detailed report, City Treasurer. Not so much a question about this concert, but about the next one. And my understanding from talking to staff is that we're in a position where we expect to make a profit. So perhaps we will balance the two off with the Mellencamp concert and the Alice Cooper concert.
We hope to, Councillor Hoffer.
And my recollection is that since we've opened Affinity Place, we've certainly made out very well on some concerts and lost on others. And do we have a running total as to where we're at overall? My understanding is that we're pretty close to break even as a whole.
I think we're pretty close. That's a good question. I don't think we have the overall numbers, City Manager or Trudy, but.
Thank you, Your Worship. Obviously, we've been changing our promoter here in the last year, but there was a report about a year and a half ago, I believe, that totaled, and they were kind of equaled off. I can find that report and get you some more numbers.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, anything else, Councillor Hoffer? Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Frank?
I just wanted to mention that, I mean, loss aside, we still saw a lot of very full hotel rooms, a lot of full restaurants that night. I got to be out there promoting some other things and saw how many people from outside of our community coming in. So overall, if this can help support some of those local businesses, I'm still quite happy with the turnout of it. So.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Frank, and that's a good point. It does promote a lot of good economic activity. Councillor Nibbs?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I'd like to echo that. What it does for the businesses and everything in town, I think is well worth it. But have we ever thought of adding like maybe a 50-50 into it, the sales? If we're with the money, maybe we can give it to some local charity or something. But if we're not, can maybe offset some of that. Can we legally do that? I don't know.
Sure, that's a good point. City Manager?
Thank you, Councilor Nibbs. There is very, each tour has a different set of guidelines. Some are a little looser than others, so we could definitely look into that for some concerts coming up and just make sure that when we do that proposal that we throw that out there to see what that tour said. There's a lot of times where an artist may not want us making money in that fashion off their event, but we can definitely look into it.
Okay, I just questioned there.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, they're all different. For example, Cooper, he had people volunteers selling his merchandise. Mellencamp, nope, only his people sell the merchandise. And of course, the riders vary widely. Some are quite interesting, but yeah, it's quite the deal. Anyway, we were thinking too with the upcoming budget, what maybe we should do, and it's up to council, but set some money aside for any potential losses throughout the year. We'll probably only have, I'm thinking, 4 to 5 concerts, but we probably should have a line item for Trudy for any potential losses. But that'll be up to council at budget time. Okay, could we have a motion to accept that report, please? Thank you, City Clerk. Councillor Yanish, seconded by Councillor Hoffert. Any further questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under executive reports from Land Development, we have the building permit report for September 2018. Could we have a motion for that, please? Councillor Moore, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Nibbs. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, from Water Services Manager, we have the water quality report for September. Again, we're meeting all of the guidelines except the trimethylanes, which we tried to get rectified this year with the new line, but of course, that was over budget, so our people are working very hard on rectifying that, and hopefully sooner than later, we'll be able to tender that again. We're in consultation with the government and with our engineering firm, and hopefully we can move forward on that project sooner than later. Okay, did I get a motion for that? No? Okay, could I have a motion for the water quality? Thank you, Councillor Vroba, seconded by Councillor Frank. Any further questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Under introduction of bylaws this evening, we have none. Public hearings and reports. Under public hearings, we have the Siller Street public hearing for consent on amending the zoning to allow semi-detached housing. Richard, maybe we'll have you step up to the mic, please. Now, we haven't had any concerns or comments on this, have we? We've advertised for the 2-week period.
Yes, Your Worship and Council, it was advertised for 2 weeks. We also advertised through written letter to a wide radius around Siller Street. I have not received a single phone call or other communication on it. The ad in the paper responses were directed to go to City Clerk. I'm not sure. City Clerk, I believe it's a couple days ago, you said you hadn't received anything either, so.
Okay, Judy, have we had anything since? No? Okay, thank you. Okay, so under consideration of rezoning of Siller Street to allow semi-detached housing, is there anyone in the gallery who wishes to address council on the proposed rezoning of Siller Street to allow semi-detached housing? I see we have one lady in the audience, but she's shaking her head. Thank you, dear. Is there anyone in the gallery who wishes to address council on this particular matter? Second call. Seeing no one, if no one comes forward, we note in the minutes. We ascertain that there was no one present in the gallery who wished to address council on this matter. So that will take care of our public hearing. Next, under giving notice, we have our proclamation for pulmonary, thank you, City Clerk. Pulmonary Hypertension Month. I'm sure we all have a little bit of this from time to time. Whereas pulmonary hypertension, or PH, is a disease affecting the arteries of the lungs, it can strike anyone regardless of age, sex, social, or ethnic background. And whereas pulmonary hypertension refers to high blood pressure in the lungs, which causes the arteries of the lungs to become narrowed and scarred, this can result in almost complete closing of the arteries. People affected by this disease suffer from continuous high blood pressure in the lungs, resulting in the enlargement of the right side of the heart, and this can lead to heart failure and death. And whereas some symptoms of pulmonary hypertension are shortness of breath, bluish or purplish lips, swelling of the hands and feet, lightheadedness, dizziness, especially when climbing stairs or standing up, chest pains, a feeling of being tired all the time, and sometimes even fainting. And whereas a somewhat generic symptoms often get mistaken for other less serious illnesses or conditions, resulting in patients experiencing significant delays in diagnosis and in receiving life-saving treatments. And now, now therefore I, Roy Ludwig, Mayor of the City of Estevan, do hereby proclaim the month of November as Pulmonary Hypertension Month in the City of Estevan, and I urge all citizens to recognize this month. Could I have a motion accepting that, please? Thank you. Councillor Vroba, seconded by Councillor Moore. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, next, motions from committee. We have none this evening. Consideration of bylaws. Bylaw 2018 to amend zoning for Siller Street. We will give that second and third reading. Could I have a motion for bylaw 2018-2005 to amend zoning for Siller Street? Second reading, Councillor Hoffert. Have we got a seconder? Thank you. Councillor Nibbs, any questions or comments on this? I have to ask that for second reading. If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Now could I have a motion, please, for third reading and adoption for use for bylaw 2018-2005 to amend zoning for Siller Street? Third reading. Councillor Yanish, seconded by Councillor Frank. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under consideration of bylaws, we have bylaw 2018-2008 to regulate snowmobiles within the City of Estevan. Mr. Heyer came to the police station at the police board meeting. He's asked for this to be updated. We've discussed this at council. We've also advertised for the 2 weeks. City Clerk, we haven't had any concerns, have we?
Nope.
Nope. Thank you. So we're here tonight to ask for second reading of bylaw 2018-2008. Do we have a motion from council? Thank you. Councillor Vroba, seconded by Councillor Nibbs. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Thank you. Next, I'll ask for third reading of bylaw 2018-2008 to regulate snowmobiles within the City of Estevan, third reading and adoption for use. Could I have that motion, please? Councillor Hofford, seconded by Councillor Yanish. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, we'll go to inquiries. Councillor Hofford.
Thank you, Your Worship. No inquiries tonight. I just did want to make mention that a very hardworking and dedicated community man in our midst is celebrating a very monumental birthday this week. And though he doesn't look a day over 39 and a half, we'd like to wish David Wilberg a happy 40th birthday.
Oh, yes, yes, and we're all well aware, thank you, Councillor Hofford, of what happened here at the police station, and it was a great thing. Dave is a very important member of our community, and it was great that he was recognized as such, and we're proud to have you in our community, Dave, and I hope you had a great birthday. Thank you. Councillor Vroba?
Thank you, Your Worship. I thought you were going to wish happy birthday to our famous Mr. Robert Godfrey. He's 21 today, so
Wow.
Robert.
And he doesn't look a day over 12.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Robert.
The other thing is, I had an inquiry about Torkelson Park. A lady said that the walking path, the lights are never on, and she wondered if maybe it was due to the fact that the neighbors around that area felt it was too light in their homes, but it just might be an oversight too that it's off right now. So she inquired if those could get turned on. And
Okay.
the other thing is our lights going down from all the way down 4th Avenue. We did half last year, and now the other half has been completed. So I took a drive down there Friday night, and the first part from the Doug Third Hall to about halfway up is not lit up yet. So I'll check and see if they're back on yet. It just might have been South Power hasn't gotten there. But the other part has, and it does light up the street. So we were concerned that because of where South Power had to put the lights, it wouldn't actually light up the street enough to make a difference, but it did. And so
Awesome.
I was pleasantly happy when I went down there and surprised that it all worked out as well as it could have.
Well, that is great.
good.
And thank you, Councillor Vroba, for bringing that concern forward. Although it's in your neighborhood, it was a
Yeah.
valid concern. And I know the other councillors like to heat you
Yeah,
up
they
about
do.
that, but it was a valid concern, and thank you for that.
Yes, and Norm Mack and his crew and South Power, because they were the ones that did all the work. I was just the one that brought the little suggestion, but good for them for what they did, so thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Councillor Yanish? Okay, thank you. Councillor Frank?
I will just give a quick reminder that United Way Telethon is this weekend, so please come on out, support the United Way. We need to reach our goal of $335,000, and we're going to do that Friday and Saturday. So please come out and enjoy the great entertainment and support.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Frank. And you're president. You're the big kahuna this year, so.
Apparently so, I guess.
That's great.
It's all my fault if we don't raise 335, is what I'm
Well,
told.
this is
So
a great community. I'm sure that they'll make it happen.
no pressure.
No pressure. And Councillor Vrobe, I believe you're also on there too, so. I know that you'll be doing, both of you will be doing yeoman's work this weekend. I get to come and open, but then I leave. But you guys will stay, I'm sure, till probably the end. So thank you for your work in that
I
area.
am leaving for the concert. Councillor Frank was gracious enough to grant me a leave for that
Okay.
evening, so I'm going to work my butt off before the telethon so I can
Okay.
have an 8-hour leave.
8 hours. Oh,
good.
see, I said you could have 2 hours off for the concert, but then you're back in the middle of the night, the
You
whole
should
night.
you should
Is
have
that the
read
deal?
you should have read the paperwork because
Oh,
I changed
darn.
it
Read
to
the
8.
fine print, yeah, exactly.
And your worship,
Councillor.
it goes without saying that you will be leaving a significant contribution during your time.
Absolutely, absolutely. I always like to get Mr. Kitchen and Ms. Carr, who don't like to pull their wallet out of their pants. And when they do, there seems to be a lot of moth flying around. So I absolutely will make, as I usually do, the initial donation, and then they'll, I'm sure somewhat gradually, but we'll come forward and match. Anyway, Councillor Nibbs.
Nothing, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to remind the businesses and individuals that for a few dollars you can put a Christmas display up in Woodlawn Park for the Christmas season. And for those that attended and looked at it last year, you'll notice it was done up really, really well. And we think this year there will be more. So for those that really want to get involved in the Christmas spirit, and besides that, you get good advertising, I would suggest you pay the fee, and we pick up the power bill for it. And you still have time to put it together. And really, it don't take a whole lot, especially for businesses. Most of them have good advertising items already. So just keep that in mind, that we'd like to see at least double what we had last year. And Greg, I think you can attest that that was a good thing, and the people that were involved are signing up again this year. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. That's a great community event, and the members of our community look forward to it. So thank yourselves and all of the organizers for that. Much appreciated. Okay, all I have is the Texas Hold'em Poker coming up. Registration 3 p.m., cards dealt at 4 p.m. That's Saturday, November 3rd at the Estevan Elks Club. So contact Doug at 306-421-1319, and the monies will go to Habitat for Humanity, a very worthy cause. So those of you that like to play with the cards, please show up. I think Councillor Hoffert, you're going to be helping to look after some of that?
Yes.
Good, so appreciate that. City Manager, anything you'd like to say this evening?
Nothing to add, Your Worship.
Okay, City Clerk?
Nothing, Your Worship.
Okay, City Treasurer? Go ahead, Councillor Yanish.
One question, Your Worship, to the city manager. Are there any tickets left for Friday night for the concert?
Thank you, Councillor Yanish. Yes, they are selling fairly well. There is some tickets left, mainly on the floor at the back, so we still encourage everyone to go to ticketmaster.ca or to the visitor information booth over at the Leisure Centre. There's still time to grab some tickets for the show.
Thank you, City Manager, and thank you, Councillor Yanish, for bringing that up. Few tickets left, and it'll be a fantastic concert, so thank you for that. Could I have a motion, please, to move into committee? Councillor Nibbs, seconded by Councillor Frank. All in favor? Carried. Thank you so much, and good evening.